In April 1943, a dead British officer washes up on a beach in Spain. Chained to his wrist, a briefcase full of top-secret Allied invasion plans. But here's the question nobody in Spain or Berlin thought to ask. This man was never in the British military. He wasn't even a soldier. So who was he? And why would British intelligence hand Adolf Hitler their most important secret on purpose?
His name was Glyndwr Michael, a homeless Welshman, alone in London with no family looking for him. He died in a freezing warehouse after swallowing rat poison. Nobody is even sure if it was an accident or on purpose. Two British intelligence officers, Ewan Montagu and Charles Cholmondeley, needed a body. Not for a funeral, for a lie. And Glyndwr Michael, forgotten by everyone in life, was about to become the most important dead man of World War II. By early 1943, every Allied general knew the next invasion had to be Sicily. It was the obvious stepping stone into Italy. And that was exactly the problem. It was obvious to the Germans, too. Churchill supposedly put it bluntly. Everyone but a bloody fool would know it's Sicily. If Hitler expected the attack, he'd have troops and tanks waiting on the beaches. Thousands of Allied soldiers would die in the first hour. So British intelligence needed the Germans to believe the invasion was going somewhere else entirely, Greece. Montagu and Cholmondeley didn't just need a body. They needed a whole fake life. Letters between British generals hinting the real target was Greece and Sardinia, with Sicily as only a decoy. A wallet full of personal items, theater tickets, an angry letter from a bank about an overdraft, even a photo of a fiancée named Pam. Glyndwr Michael became Captain Acting Major William Martin, Royal Marines. Every detail was designed to make a German officer feel like he'd stumbled onto something he was never meant to see. Because the more real it felt, the more they'd trust it. But a body doesn't keep well. They had roughly 3 months before decomposition made the disguise impossible, and that clock never stopped running.
On April 17, 1943, the submarine HMS Serenus left Scotland with the canister on board. Its crew told only that it carried secret weather equipment. 13 days later, it reached the coast of Huelva, Spain, a city the British knew was crawling with German intelligence contacts. Spain was neutral, but sympathetic to Germany. If the body washed up there, the British were betting the local authorities would quietly pass everything to the Germans before the British could recover it. It was a plan built entirely on assumptions about people they couldn't control. And once that body hit the water, there was no way to stop what happened next.
The body was found the next morning. Spanish officials, following procedure, contacted the German vice consul. The briefcase was opened, photographed, copied, then resealed and returned to the British, who examined the seals under a microscope for any sign the papers had been touched. Weeks passed with no confirmation. Then, British codebreakers intercepted a German message. Berlin had seen the documents, and Hitler believed them. Hitler didn't just read the fake letters, he acted on them. German divisions, including tanks and one of their most experienced commanders, were pulled away from Sicily and sent toward Greece and the Balkans. Minefields were laid off the Greek coast. Defenses in Sicily, the actual target, were left thinner than they should have been. On July 10, 1943, Allied forces landed on Sicily. The resistance was real, but nowhere near what it would have been if the Germans had known the truth. A single dead man and a briefcase full of lies had reshaped where an entire army stood. Glyndwr Michael was buried in Spain with full military honors under the name William Martin. a funeral for a man who never existed, for a man whose real name almost no one knew. It wasn't until 1997 that his true identity was finally added to the grave. Historian Michael Howard later called it perhaps the most successful deception operation of the entire war. Churchill was blunter, joking that any man who couldn't get a corpse to lie was a failure in life. A homeless man with no one left to claim him ended up doing something in death that changed the course of a war, and almost no one alive at the time ever knew his real name.
If you think that's a strange way to win a war, wait until you hear how a handful of Allied POWs tricked their guards into thinking a fake army was real. That's next time on Epic Past. If stories like this hook you in, subscribe. There's a lot more history stranger than fiction still to come.